Welcome to Crit Sandwich. Usually Crit Sandwich is four friends playing D&D loosely based on our favorite movies, shows, and games. But today, we're answering your questions. Please be aware there might be some major spoilers for campaigns 1 through 7, but we'll try to keep Season 8 spoilers to the absolute minimum. Tonight with me is Chuck Ventus.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
And Robbie Ponder.
Hello.
And, of course, Matt Poppich.
Hey.
So, Matt, you have collected and curated these questions. Please take it away.
Yeah, super excited. I sent them all to you guys, so you've seen them. I anticipate some of these being pretty quick and down and dirty. Here's our answers, and some of them might take up some time. So, hope everybody enjoys and keep them coming. We'll probably do another of these, and I'll keep collecting them so that we can have a bunch to talk about. So, first, we're going to start with Sierra. Sierra H. We're not going to read last names for privacy concerns. Sierra asks, how the heck did y'all, because she said y'all, Y-A''LL. So Georgia, maybe? Florida, right? How the heck did y'all become so comfortable talking? Kentucky? True. How the heck did y'all become so comfortable talking in voices? And what steps do you take to create your character voices? Thank you so much. Casey, what do you think?
Oh, yeah. So for me, first off, what makes you think that we're comfortable talking in our character voices? Clearly.
Nailed it. Yeah, I think that question is so adorable because, yeah, I think we're terrible, but go ahead, answer.
So for me, when I'm listing characters, when I'm DMing, I generally write like the name, the description, and then below that, I write their voice. And it's always like bad impersonation of Kermit the Frog, bad Daniel Plainview from There Might Be Blood. Bad. It's always bad before whatever, impersonation I'm going to do. But that's kind of what I do. I rip something off and I do it so poorly it sounds original.
I would agree, Casey. Like, what for me, like I don't want to say I rip voices off, but like I do try and find something to imitate. So, just a couple of examples. So, like Ilden Bonri, I actually, I don't know if anybody's played the game Apex Legends, but there's a character named Octane. That's kind of where I got the inspiration to do the voice for Ilden Bonri. And, it's you just try and like imitate stuff. I think I've been comfortable with a few characters. You have an idea like in your head, like, oh, I kind of want this character to sound like this, but then you kind of adjust as you go, because you might not be comfortable with it like right away, and you might just adjust as it towards the end of the episode, or maybe by episode 2, you're like, oh, I kind of want my guy to sound like this.
For me, I try to come up with a quote, and to get myself to go back into that character voice, I'll just say that weird quote in a weird voice that's going to be locked in my head. Just a simple thing of 3 words, but that's what I try to do. I never really do that because I just edited an episode of where my character voice was all over the place, and I did not go into anything Scottish, which was good. But I've also realized that the main important thing for me is when I hear any of the PCs talking is I can tell the difference between when Chuck talks or when Chuck's talking and he's Ilden. I can tell the difference there. And that's really what I like the character voices for too, is being able to tell the difference between the character you're playing and you yourself as in talking out of character.
I agree. I like that assessment. It's definitely something I would like to work on personally. But I what I do is kind of what Casey said. Mostly, I'll try and pick something that I like a person. Like one of my favorite character voices was probably prior to our recordings was you guys probably might not even remember him. He was Boomhauer, but he was like a pirate. Like you guys had tackled a boat in one of my in a campaign, and he was just a pirate left the board basically, and he was Boomhauer. And if you like a character in real life and then can turn him into something that is yours in the show or in the game, I think is when you like them the most. So I agree. That's kind of what I go for too.
I remember that pirate. Did we not? We met him at a Genasi city, right?
You did, and actually, you got him. He ended up. You saved like a halfling-ish princess, and like then he like I didn't even. I thought you guys were like half a second from killing him, if you remember. And
Oh, yeah.
then and then the halfling, you like brought them together, and they kind of ended up making googly eyes at each other. It was actually, I had no idea that was going to happen, but it was funny. Well, good. I'm glad you remember him.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, Sierra. Again, your question is far more flattering than you meant it to be, I'm sure. But thank you very much for writing. Roscoe has a few questions for us. His first one is, what do you guys enjoy more, breathing life into a character or creating a rich environment for your friends to explore? Or in other words, do you enjoy playing or DMing? We'll start with Robbie.
I'll go first while Robbie's thinking about this.
I totally thought this question was going to go to
Yeah,
Chuck
what?
first.
Don't start with Robbie. He said
I can
he
start
clearly
you-
said before we started.
Oh,
man.
I'm trying
God.
to do a full recording without editing, Matt. You can't start with Robbie.
Well,
all right? You just can't.
thought
You just can't do it.
just
I
say
thought this
something.
question was going to go to Chuck.
I'm
I wasn't
looking at
ready.
him on. I'm looking at his camera, and he's just like staring, like, "Oh."
I was reading the next question for I could be ready for the next question, but
he's struggling.
All right. Well, now I know. Now
Wait,
I know.
I can
That was
answer
a
this
big
one.
mistake. Sorry,
I can answer
everyone.
this one.
I'm sorry,
I can
everyone.
answer this one. I have my answer. Okay, so for me, like, I running a podcast, and I feel like a lot of stress sometimes when I'm the DM because I want everything to be entertaining, not only for the three players with us at the table. I also feel like the stress of like having to entertain the listeners too. But like I'm currently doing a campaign now, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm actually really enjoying being the DM for this campaign. But with that being said, I honestly like playing the PCs more and breathing life into a character more because I feel like it's less stress.
I'll go next. I think I actually like building a world and making giving my characters options. But I know what you're talking about with the stress, but it's also like, I'm going to use the word controlling, but it's not necessarily correct because there's so much that's out of your control. But I like the stuff that you said. I kind of see that as a good way. Like, I get the opportunity to guide my player characters and my audience through a story that I have written. It is stressful because if it goes off the rails, I mean, it's tough. It's real tough. Or they talk to somebody you didn't expect or whatever. You're just kind of like, just guess I'll wing it. But I think that's a blast. I love being a player character as well, but I prefer to be a DM. Chuck, what do you think?
For me, it's breathing life into a character. I'm kind of similar to Robbie. Like the DMing, I've only done one campaign. I feel comfortable if I had another one or were to have another one come up. But I just enjoy like trying to breathe life into like a specific character and try and make them just my own, and whether they be a serious character or a funny character or a backstabber. I just think like that's my favorite thing, like playing a PC.
I love them both. I definitely love being a player and creating a player character. Like, give me a blank character sheet in like 3 or 4 hours, and I'll just go to town. And I love doing that so much. But I'm a world builder at heart. I grew up drawing and creating my own worlds and creating my own characters, creating my own stories, drawing my own comic book kind of things, and like the world building is just. That's it for me. I love that part. But also, like, by the end of a campaign, like, whew, it takes
It's a
it out
lot.
of you. Like,
Yeah.
DMing is hard. Keeping up with everything that you're building is really hard. Especially, this last campaign, we recorded it over a period of 6 months. That's hard. But again, I love creating those worlds and just seeing how people ruin it. Mostly.
Yeah, I hear
All
you.
right.
Next question from Roscoe is, who has been your favorite character on the podcast other than one that you have created? Casey, what do you got?
Going with I'll go with a DM created character here, the angel that we met on season. Oh, what's 4? Is that the
Chaos Incarnate?
Yes, Chaos Incarnate season. The sweary Zariel?
Cassiel?
I could never remember his name, but he swore a lot and he cracked me up. I just love that Dogma-esque take on an angel. Right?
Yeah,
Like, do they even care about human language enough to recognize a curse word?
Right. Yeah, and that was kind of the point with him, was like, you can be a really good, like, an angelic creature and have good intentions and still be, like, just a New Yorker, whatever, like cussing dude, and but still be, it was supposed to be. I'm glad you like that. That's cool.
Yeah, and also I loved the Nick and Nate dynamic. Having a brother on the team too, I think was really fun,
cool.
and something you can play off of a lot.
I'll go ahead and say I liked Jackson King. I'll put him out there. I thought he was funny. I thought you role played him well, Chuck, and I thought you had a lot of like side flavor stuff for him, like changing his outfit and singing some songs and stuff.
Well, thank you. I haven't done that voice in a while. Am I next? I'll go next. I think one of my favorite characters was actually Casey's Aunt Tarla, the Southern twang.
Yeah,
and I loved how, just like how the story progressed and how Casey just like reacted in the story. It almost kind of seemed like, oh, we're in trouble because of the stuff your character's doing, but
it never came out.
The reality of it was, it was something else, without giving too many spoilers. But I enjoyed Aunt Tarla. And then there was Robbie.
I'm gonna have to go with our roll chart. What was the March Madness winner? I'm gonna have to go with Ruckus.
Oh yeah, the Friar.
Ruckus.
I personally I like him because he was just, for me, it was kind of funny the way that he just would be the drunk leader of our, what were we, priests of a church? I don't remember. But it was just kind of funny. And then I really liked where you just all of a sudden just like start attacking that druid too. Like you start blaming her and like about to push her off the top of that building too. That was, I like the way that he was role played.
Yeah, he was fun. Thanks. Roscoe also says, I love the dynamic between the players. Sometimes the table talk makes for great podcasting. How do you determine much of the table banter status in the show and what gets edited out? I'll probably leave that to Casey and Robbie.
Yeah, so the process of making the show is that we record an episode and then Robbie gets first pass edit, where, Robbie, what do you remove? What are you thinking about when you're removing stuff for that first pass edit?
My Sorry, Robbie.
Yeah, the there's like lip smacks in there too. But it's perfectly fine. It's going to happen, and there's an occasional stutter too that I'll take out, and I'll make things sound really smooth. Just easier for when you're going back and listening to it all. But there is not much banter or like cross table talk that I take out at all. It's like when we're playing and we're sitting there playing, we don't go like off topic and off subject and start talking about everything. And a lot of our banter too is like our playful banter, and I think is hilarious. So I just leave it in there. And if there is anything that I feel is kind of, off topic or like offsets the mood, I'll end up just copying and pasting it at the end of the podcast. So like after we end and you hear that's the end of the episode, sometimes you can hang out for a little bit, not too long, like 10 seconds maybe, and you'll hear some possible banter at the end of where we're just a little extra clip that I put at the end.
Yeah, sometimes there are rules readings and things, or just things that are just really, really redundant, where actually someone asks for clarity, but I think that there was clarity already, so I might remove that portion just so it's it keeps up the pace and the tempo. But we don't remove too much. and it's all about pacing. It's all about tempo. It's it's funny as a when I'm DMing and editing my own season, I will definitely remove stuff that I'm like, oh, nope, that doesn't make sense. Oh, nope, that's illogical. Oh, nope, that doesn't make sense in the world that I'm doing right now. So there are some mistakes that I make as a DM that I just straight up just kill that never make it to the listeners too, which is really great. Which is, I think, why also we're doing a podcast instead of some sort of live show.
Yeah, that's advantageous to you guys for sure when you're the DM.
Mm-hmm.
I've given you two. I given you the opportunity. I've posted the episodes in there. I was like, hey, if you need anything else edited, let me know. I've posted it I posted it there for you guys. But Chuck and Matt's never taken that opportunity for me to do any more editing for them.
No, it's hey, I am a fan of if I did it, then I did it. So it is what it is. But you guys do an amazing job editing, and then Casey, you're the one that adds any music or sound effects as well, too, right?
Yes, yeah. So I'll add the intro music and sound effects, and then if something, if we do keep something after the credits, I'll put that there too.
Cool. Well, Roscoe, thanks a bunch. Roscoe's been with us for a long, long time. He's been posting for a long time, so thanks, man. We'll say Kayla L is next. Kayla, we wanted to shout out. First off, you mentioned you tried to leave a review on Apple, but had issues with it. So thanks for that. And then she also told us that she uses our world chart and has run a few different campaigns. So that is super cool. If anyone hasn't told us about that, we love it when folks tell us, oh, hey, we ran this campaign. I would say by far the most popular is the Jurassic Park one. But people tend to have different outcomes, and we always love to hear about that. So let us know. So Kayla says, how long have you guys been playing D&D, both collectively and independently? My first experience, gosh, probably, 6 or 7 years we played with you, Casey, when you were the DM for the first campaign?
Yeah. We first played together as a group. Robbie, you were not there at the very beginning, but you joined halfway through our first D&D campaign. Our first D&D campaign as a collective group. And that was pretty soon after 5th edition came out. Like the player's handbook was out, and the monster manual, and the DM's guide, and then maybe like only 1 or 2 campaign books.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you brought that up. I could not remember how long ago that was. I was like, you and I know Casey's probably played longer than all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long he's played, but I know Matt and myself started at the same time with Casey as DM, and then Robbie joined shortly after.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Well, I remember Chuck asking me, like, if you're going to play with us, you need to be devoted. You need to make sure that you come here and play. And then I'm just like, I just had my first son, newborn son, and then I sent Chuck a picture of him. I'm like, do I look like I'll be devoted playing D&D right now? But I was. I came. We got together like once a month back then, and I came at once a month. And the person that kept canceling was Chuck.
No.
Yeah.
No. I was hosting.
Yeah, you were hosting and canceling.
So I played some D&D and also other role-playing games as a teenager. I played, oh gosh, this is 20 plus years ago. And I think it was 2nd edition, 2.5.
Wow.
Thaco was involved the first time I played D&D, so whatever edition that was. But I never bought any of the books because I was raised Pentecostal and I was terrified to bring anything with magic home because that was very much frowned upon in the churches I grew up in. So I played a lot of the Star Wars tabletop game. I built my own tabletop games based off the worlds that I was building. I had friends that built their own RPGs when I was a teenager. I had a friend that built a really badass Alien, like Alien and Aliens. Like, you want to burn through some characters, man. You play his Alien RPG because you get killed. You get killed real quick. And then I kind of stopped and slowed down on the RPGs after I got a car and a job and I met girls. And then college happened. And then these dorks were like, hey, we really want to play D&D, but you're the only person we know that's played it, so will you be our dungeon master? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then, 7 years later, here we are.
And I feel like actually that ties into his next question.
Sorry, Matt. I just wanted to talk about the role-playing stuff. Chuck, you remember back in the day when we used to play GoldenEye? and we were like running around with our characters, and like if you aim up and down fast enough, you can make your character's head jump up and down. It was funny because we would like aim our little pistols up and down and make our characters talk to each other like, hey, where are you going? Oh, we're in the laboratory or something. I'm going to the lab. You remember that?
We were clearly bored.
I was not part of that. Yeah. And then we got into EverQuest together, and that was a whole thing because that game, if you ever played it, you have to spend hundreds of hours to accomplish nothing sometimes.
Yeah.
It was awful. Yeah. But yeah, and D&D came along. So she also asked, what made you decide to start a podcast, and how did you get everyone to commit to it? That's a super good question. What did us? I think Casey was like, "Hey guys, let's do it."
Because that's funny. I remember Chuck. I thought Chuck pushed for it.
Was it Chuck?
All right.
Back when we first started, we just started like Casey as the DM, and we were just playing. And then during this time, I'll give a shout out to a podcast that I listened to, the McElroys, The Adventure Zone. You guys should check it out. I think that they're an awesome podcast, and they're really funny. But they were doing that campaign, and I just remembered we were playing D&D. I was like, oh, let's play D&D. Let's play D&D. And that kind of got us started as like a group. And I just remembered during some of the campaigns, I would just record us on my phone and just like send you guys like short clips of like, oh, here's like a funny encounter and stuff. And eventually just kind of turned into like, dude, these are actually really funny. Like, what could we do a podcast? Could we do this? Like, I think we're funny to listen to. But I think like, as far as like all the technical stuff, Casey helped drive that ship because I don't understand any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And like the technical stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, we recorded a lot before we ever posted the first episode of Crit Sandwich. We were like knee deep in an actual normal scripted classic D&D campaign that I was writing. And it was very much like every other D&D podcast. And then I had a second D&D group, and
Cheater.
with those, I know I was cheating on you guys.
You were.
Well, that's what happens when all of you guys have kids.
So
dirty.
dirty.
I start up a second D&D group. That's
You're
what I
so
do with
dirty.
my time.
Now, they were the sloppy seconds, right? Not us.
They were, yeah, they were.
Okay.
They were the B team.
All right, good.
They were the
That
B
makes
team.
me feel
The B
better.
team.
All right,
Yeah,
all right, good.
that's true. But no, I was playing with those guys, and we came up with that the chart that we use now. And I played once with them, and I was like, oh, this is bonkers and really fun. And I convinced you guys to blow up and flush like 3 or 4 months of recordings down the toilet and try this random Game World thing.
Yeah. Well, now that made it sound like we're the sloppy seconds a little bit, but that's okay. Because it was an awesome idea, and you're in totally.
I brought
you
the
were right.
AAA to the majors.
Very good. I like it.
Yeah.
What do you do in your personal lives for work and fun when you are not adventuring? I'll go first. I am in finance. I work at a call center, actually. So folks call in to me for my for their awards for equity. So like if your company is like, hey, you get some stock options or an employee stock purchase plan or restricted stock units, most of the time people call me and say, I don't know what that means, or when should I sell them, or what are my diversification options, things like that. So that's what I do. And as far as what I do for fun, I play with my kids, and every once in a while, I get to go play Magic, but that's pretty rare with COVID nowadays. So Magic the Gathering, I love card games and collecting and stuff like that. But that's kind of rare. Mostly I've got 3 kids. Usually I'm with them. And golly, it's been so long, but I would love a date night with my wife. That sounds phenomenal, but that doesn't happen much either. So, Robbie?
Yeah, so I work in aviation, and I just review paperwork for aviation parts, and I help other people with their paperwork as I review it. And for fun, I, of course, like to play with my kids, and I mean, it's hard to do anything, of course, with the COVID stuff, but I like to go on date nights with my wife. Really liked volunteering at my church, but I can't do that anymore either.
Chuck?
I thought this question was funny because I feel like this came up in maybe it was episode 0, our very first episode.
Yeah.
Where we
And your
talked
answer
about
was
like, what
like-
do you do? And I was like, so you want to know what I do in my personal life? I'm in customer service.
What is what do
Sorry.
you mean customer service?
So, yeah, it was this whole thing, like, because I wasn't sure what I could say about my work. So I'm actually a general manager at a company here in Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio. I don't think I can say the name of where I work and stuff, but I manage people. As far as like fun, like of course, like love hanging out with my family and the kids and stuff. Getting in a lot of like, that quality time, quality family time right now with COVID. You seem like you're spending more time with like your family and stuff, which is awesome. Where it's fantasy football season, I'll try and talk about something different. I'm into fantasy football right now, and I occasionally will play some Xbox when I have free time. I just recently cut my finger at work, so I can't. It's very difficult for me to use my left trigger finger right now, so I'm a little sad.
I'm sorry for your loss.
I know, right?
It's a toughie. Yeah.
So it's been real difficult. You know how hard it is, like trying to play with your middle finger. Like it's
Oh boy, that's your
it's
aiming
bad.
finger.
It's bad.
Got to get those back buttons going.
Mm-hmm.
Casey?
So I do graphic design, branding, and marketing for a local hardware company. And when I'm not doing that, I am. I do a lot of cooking. I love to cook. I love to eat. I do enjoy video games, and I had a B team D&D group that turned into my Gloomhaven group. So there's definitely some other board games and tabletop stuff I also enjoy.
Now they're the G team.
Yeah, now they're all C teams now for COVID.
C teams.
Oh,
Hey.
I'm surprised nobody said I love bread. Just I don't know.
You can say it.
It's I love bread. I don't know. That's a Oprah thing.
we baked bread today. You can add that to the list of things I love to do.
Love good garlic, like a nice baked garlic bread. Baking bread is super underrated.
Oh yeah, we just did I made chili, and then Sarah and I baked a loaf together for the chili.
Very nice. Kayla's next question is, what you drinking? So I'm I think I'm the only one of us that doesn't actually drink typically during the podcast. And God, the only reason is I'm just old, and unfortunately nowadays if I drink beer, I feel bloated, and for some reason I wake up like if I don't sleep well. I don't know. Life gets to you, man. Actually tonight though I am drinking. I'm having a crisp. Where'd it go? Angry Orchard. I'm having an Angry Orchard hard cider, which I never drink these, but it was in the fridge and I felt like one tonight. So there it is.
I think I drink beer every time we play, except
Yeah.
for maybe 2 occasions where I might have had like a water or something like that because I had to be up like super early the next morning. I'm currently drinking a Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
Ooh, nice.
That's what I'm drinking right now. Wanted to get some of that fall beer in, but that's what I'm currently drinking right now. Usually I'll have like some local stuff, some Mad Tree.
So good.
But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
I've been drinking Milwaukee's Best lately. A neighbor introduced me to it, and we had like a taste test at his house. And it actually, like, I ranked it as my second favorite, and I forget which was my first one. I think it was Coors Light. But I was like, man, it's like really cheap beer, and it tastes really good. And he told me that it's because all the money they generate from the beer, they put back into producing the beer instead of advertising for it. So they don't advertise it for it, and that's why they can sell it so cheap. But it's pretty good beer. And
is that
is that
Beast or Beast Light?
It's the regular
Milwaukee.
Beast.
Well,
I thought
they
you
call
said
it the
Milwaukee.
Beast.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
it's the Beast. They're the same. But I drink the regular one, or I'll drink the light. I'm not 100% sure, but we had like our neighbors came over because of course all our kids play together, and my wife asked them all the questions like how they're quarantined, so they got their approval to hang out with our kids, and we had them over, so we bought like a 24 pack, and I've still been drinking it since.
Fun. Right now, I am drinking a German Pilsner that we bought at Aldi. I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to name or say the name out loud, But yeah, usually like a local beer or maybe just a glass of whiskey.
Yeah, see, Casey's the fancy one with all the fancy cooking and fancy things that he's eating. That's all sounds delicious and looks good. I'll see his pictures from his wife on Facebook, and I'm like, oh man, I want to eat that. And yeah, your beer's always looking good over there too, Casey.
Yeah, sometimes a cocktail, sometimes I think the last time we played I might have had some like rosé or something. Like who knows?
That's how I would do all those things if I had A, time, and B, money. Because I'm a sommelier. I like the finer things in life. I just don't get them anymore. So, um, Kayla's final question: what will you do if presented with sponsors, and how will it affect the show? Gosh, yeah. I mean, for clarity, so everyone knows how this works. Like we went and bought like microphones, and we pay for a server and all these things, and we're reimbursed with just spending a lot of time on this. So we're squarely in the red as of right now.
It's hard. Is that hard for you, Matt?
We're
As
in
a
the
finance
negative. We're in
guy?
the negative.
As a finance guy, the ROI at this point is return on investment. I guess not everyone knows that acronym. Is subpar. Yeah, I'll say that.
You know, I tell people all the time, I'm like, yeah, I have a podcast where we play D&D. And like, oh, well, how many listeners you have? And I'm like, I think we're around like 6,000 good solid downloads right now. And they're like, whoa, you making any money on that? And I'm like, no.
0.
Maybe at some point there will be a Patreon. We've talked about that, but it'll probably be pretty minimalistic. I don't think that people. Sometimes when people do podcasts and they run a Patreon, they run themselves ragged, trying to, create a bunch of additional content and stuff like that. But we've considered having the audience chip in, but I don't think we're going to chase sponsors.
Yeah, we've talked about like extra content, like reviewing things, or God, I am dying to do a Hollow based on the Netflix show The Hollow campaign, and I don't know how it would come up in a random world chart. But yeah, it might be like extra stuff that you would get. I would be in for some merch. I think it'd be cool to have T-shirts or something. That's another route we could go, I guess. But yeah, as of right now, I don't think it would affect the show much, right? It would just be extra stuff to answer her second part of it, right?
Yeah, it would just be extra stuff, but I don't think anyone's going to be sponsoring us anyway. But hey, listeners, if you have any ideas of what you would like us to do with things like Patreon and merch, shoot us an email.
There you go.
critsandwichpodcast@gmail.com.
Well, thank you so much, Kayla. We'll move on to a question from Mr. Benjamin M. He says, what is your least favorite alignment to play and why? And there is no one better to start us with this question than Robbie Ponder. Robbie, what is your least favorite? What is What is your least favorite alignment to play and why?
He just says all of them.
The top one. What's and then the very bottom one, like on the scale of real high being real good guy, and then on the bottom being like super bad. I don't really like to play. It's really hard to be like that evil character, just because of just so naturally, want to do good things. It's in my nature, but then like it's just hard to role play like someone completely evil and like only in it for themselves. And then it's really like, I don't know, Lawful Stoop is kind of easy for me to play. And that's because I remember this part of a campaign of where I felt my character was going to die and I was going to give my hammer to somebody. And I was going to be like, hey, don't give this to anybody. Give me your word. Don't give it to anybody. Give it to my son. And my character ended up living. And then they tried to give it back to me. And I'm like, no, I don't want you to break your word because your word was that you would give it to my son. And so you can't give it to me because you said your word was you're going to give it to my son. And I don't want you to break your word. That's like how lawful stupid that was.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I think lawful good is terrible to play because you're almost like your character's played for you. You don't have any choices. You have to be a good guy and follow the law. Lawful good to its nature is like you're like whatever the king tells you to do or the governing body, you just do it, which is just so freaking lame. Like even if it's an unjust thing, you are lawful. You believe in the law and you just have to follow it. Which is, that doesn't sound fun to me. On the flip side, like the evil characters or neutral-ish, like there's got to be a reason behind it, right? Like, why are you out for yourself? Maybe like there's different ways you can play it that make it fun, I think. And it also can build into a background as to like, why did you become this way, and you can like drop things here and there. I think all that is a freaking blast. Whereas I think Lawful Good is just like, you're just a 10 robot. I don't know. It's not for me.
I don't know if you can see me nodding my head while you were talking. I 100% agree. I was going to say Lawful Good, top of the line, is my least favorite alignment to play, just because you basically just have to make all the good guy choices and follow the law. My play style, I don't know if we can kind of branch off just slightly. I just like to be chaotic, whatever. So I think that's how I try to do all my characters, because every once in a while I feel like I'll do something fucking crazy in some of the campaigns where I just feel like that is just like the easiest thing for me to play. But Lawful Good, that's my least favorite.
I
for
could,
sure.
After hearing your guys' answers, I want to change my answer now that I understand what alignment is more.
That's why you had to go first, because you don't even actually
I
put
know,
an
right?
alignment. That's
I don't. Last time there was a alignment. I'm just I forgot what I put it in. I was like, no thanks, or something like that. I remember, but I did it too to get Matt all riled up. Sorry, Casey. Go ahead.
I'm going to say chaotic evil because you just can't play that in a party without being a
Yeah.
colossal douche.
yeah. It's
Lawful
like,
evil works, like, because you have to be sneaky about your evilness. Like, you could play a lawful evil person in a party of neutral people, and they could never know that you're evil, because, like, in the eyes of other people, you're kind of dotting your I's, you're crossing your T's, you're being cool, but like deep down, you're scheming. So I like that scheming kind of evil, not just the I'm just gonna go stab someone.
for fun and then ruin. Yeah, so I mean that's like the Joker. Like when you each alignment, you can kind of put it as a D&D or like a character out there in the world that you've seen before. And chaotic evil is like the Joker. Like there's just no rhyme or reason. You just want to watch the world burn. And yeah, that's tough to actually finish a campaign with one of those in your party.
Check out
Cool.
campaign 6.
Right?
Well, thanks, Ben. We have Alex T next. Alex says, "What is your favorite moment of any campaign?" That's kind of a toughie. Does anyone have one off the tip of their head, real quick?
There's so many. I can think of two just off the top of my head. One, campaign 4, Chaos Incarnate. One of my favorite moments was the skill challenge that Matt presented us with. And at first, it just kind of like, at first when we started to do it, it just kind of like sucked. But the outcome at the very end was like, I thought it was really exciting when it just came down to like that final roll. And you can just hear our excitement just with passing the roll and stuff. That was probably one of my favorite moments. And I think one of my other favorite moments was in episode or campaign 6 of Drow Hard, was when Robbie's character 10 got crushed by a bookshelf. That was probably one of my favorite moments, and I cannot remember who it was, but somebody sent us a message on Facebook of a meme. It was like this coat closet or something like that from like Disney's Beauty and the Beast, where it just jumps down and crushes a guy. It was just so funny. It just like was perfect.
That was one of the most embarrassing things that has ever happened to me in D&D. My character getting killed by a bookshelf. I totally underestimated those books in the bookshelf. I would say for my favorite moment was campaign 1 when we were fighting Guy Took, and we had to get Rupert Klinko out of the area. That was pretty epic, as like what Casey starts describing, this group of wizards and group of druids start fighting each other, and like we're going down there, and I don't remember what level we were, probably level 4 or 5, and we're going down there, and Guy Took casts Earthquake on us, and like everything. And Casey's telling, he's telling us like, I'm trying to kill you guys really hard, but you just keep surviving. it's like we survived an earthquake and we did all this stuff, and then eventually Rupert Klinko, we finally grabbed him and got him out of there, which was freaking that was awesome because for me, like usually the ending is here's your end boss, and like to your D&D campaign, your end boss, you fight him, and that's how you're gonna win. But for us, like our end goal was just to get Rupert Klinko out of there, which I thought that was really awesome. And then I have one more, was when I was playing Brad Kitty at the Chaos Incarnate, I believe it was, of where I am just destroying the Demigorgon, like using my action surge, and I'm like doing 70 to 80 points a freaking turn, 70 to 80 points of damage a turn. That to me was really awesome that I had finally a character that was really badass and able to do a whole bunch of damage.
Yeah, he was a monster. Any other class, I'm not quite sure how you guys would have made it because if you guys, I used the stat block in the book. He was a true god that you guys took down. And I don't think you would have done it without Brad Kitty. He was pretty ridiculous. I think I'm gonna go ahead and say mine was the end of middles, and it kind of just because first off, it was probably my worst D&D playing ever, and it'll stick out in my mind as me not being good at the game because I think I still didn't understand at the end that we weren't damaging him, or I thought we weren't. Which, but then Robbie was like, "Oh well, he's the master of deception," and then he told us the hints that he was dropping that like things were fake, and I was like, "Golly, I'm awful." But the actual part that was good was that it shows that you can wipe, and that's part of the game, and we kind of failed the world in that one, and that's part of Dungeons and Dragons. And I like that you didn't wuss us out and come up with some, like, I don't know, an eagle comes out of nowhere and kills him or something. That you let us fail, and the world got conquered, and we're awful. So
No, dude,
Yeah,
we got the message out.
Yeah, the message
Yeah,
was you guys'
it was just
goal.
like-
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we did that, but we all ended up dying. So
Yeah, but that's actually perfect for They Live, though. That's
yeah,
that's
it was
what
great.
made it so great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great.
I would say my favorite parts are definitely endings. The ending of Drowhard with all the chaos and everyone just taking care of themselves was a mess. The ending of Chaos Incarnate was really fun and hilarious. And the Monster Park ending was really fun too.
Yeah, we've had some fun endings.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Alex. Next is Rose G. Rose says, I have been wanting to DM, but with everything going on, I am not sure how to get a group together. Any advice on that? We're in Cincinnati. There's a local Facebook group here and it's all the time people with that exact question trying to hook up with other people to play like online. So there's definitely like ways to do it. So I know Facebook is a good one. D&D Beyond, I think, is trying to come up with things like that. I have not looked into it at all, but I know that they want that to be a thing as well. I don't know. What do you guys think? Those are the two things that come to my mind.
I was going to say, yeah, in the age of coronavirus, like there is a lot of like online chatter because I remember that group, Matt, when you showed us that, and I've been on there a couple times, and you can see the people on there like, hey, want to start a campaign? These are the times I'm thinking about playing, like looking for a group of this size. Anyone interested in joining? So that's definitely like one way to, get a group started or DM for a group. We're really fortunate because we all know each other and we just all had the interest of playing and stuff, and we just enjoy it so much. So we kind of lucked out in that aspect. But, definitely the online portion of those groups is probably the way to go.
Yeah, Rose, just start playing online with the guys you've been playing with for 7 years, like we did.
Just do that.
Yeah. No, that's not helpful. But D&D Beyond does have a Discord as well, and there are some channels in there for looking for players, looking for groups too. But local might be a bit better, so you have some things in common.
I feel like it would be a little bit weird to meet, like, quote unquote, meet on one of these things and try to play. But I mean, it's other nerdy people out there that want to play the game and tell a story with you. So I would try it. And maybe if that group doesn't feel good, then try a different one. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something I would like to say is it's going to take you a few tries to find a group that works. You're going to run into bad DMs. You're going to run into toxic players. You're going to, run into some really nice folks and probably some real a-holes too. So if you really want to play it and you're trying to do it online with a group of people you don't know very well, it's going to take a few tries, I bet.
But
Yeah.
but it's also something that once it sticks, it could be like
Oh, yeah.
years. Yeah, it could be awesome.
It could be friends for life once you find that group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Go ahead,
that's what
Chuck.
works best for us is that I don't I don't know about you guys. I just don't think we take it too seriously and we just have fun with it.
Mhm.
I think that's one of our things that we say is we will screw up the rules, and I think I screw up the rules the most. I don't know, but it's just something where you just have fun with it and you just kind of enjoy it as you go. So, but yeah, you can find people that are like that, then you're in good shape.
Cool. Well, good luck. And if you find something, which I hope you do, let us know. Hopefully, it's a fun time. So our next questions are from Edward or Edward A. Edward has a few of them for us, so we'll just start from the top here. What has been your favorite campaign you have done and why? Casey, we'll go with you first. What's your favorite campaign we've done?
I definitely think Drowhard because our characters were so well put into conflict with one another, and it just had so many great moments. And I loved being Aunt Harla. Aunt Harla, y'all, she's here for you.
Robbie?
I would say this current campaign 9. I'm really having fun DMing it, and like some of the talk that you guys have is hilarious. We're literally just had an episode where it was nothing but really characters talking in one another, and nothing nothing got done during the whole episode, but it was very entertaining.
Yeah, I'm gonna say so. I agree with Casey. I actually think both of the campaigns that Matt has done are probably my top two favorites, just because like I felt like the chemistry. I enjoyed the endings of both of them, and the chemistry between like the characters in both of those campaigns was just kind of like my favorite. I just felt like it was just in like Chaos Incarnate was just like goofy characters that just meshed so well together with an awesome ending. And then campaign 6 Drow Hard was just like it just felt so intense, and playing Ilden Bonri was just I felt terrible every time I played that game. Like every night after we would finish, I'd just go and talk to Courtney. I just felt terrible about all the bad things that I did, that I did to you guys. I was like, oh man, I took Robbie's rod, and I feel shitty about it, but I can't say anything because I am like trying to deceive them and stuff. And then I just remember my heart was just pounding so hard after I pickpocketed Aunt Tarla's wand of Vicious Glob, and it was just those were some awesome campaigns.
Cool. Yeah, you guys had such good chemistry with your characters on those. It was fun to be fun to DM because you guys did such an awesome job pulling it together on your side. I'll go ahead and just say Jurassic Park. I thought it was a blast. I thought from start to finish we had the concept was so cool, and then Casey brought it to life in such a great way. And saving the kids throughout the whole thing was fun. In that he was like, "I'm gonna kill some kids," and we were like, "Well, then you're gonna have to kill my character too, bitch." It was fun. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
You have very unique. This is another question from Edward. You have very unique DM styles. How do you prepare for your sessions? In other words, not very prepared and very good at the moment, or are you super preppers, or what? Let's start with Chuck.
So I remember like in my campaign that I did, I had like enough planned out where I felt like, okay, I feel like I can get an hour out of this, like, because that's typically what we do for like episodes. We try and do like an hour, and I had like stuff prepped like for a specific episode, but like the players are gonna do what the players want to do, and I think that like especially like with you guys, if you want to be goofy or we just kind of get off into one of our little banters, that adds time to it. And honestly, like someone could do something where you're just not prepared for it, and it just kind of like messes up like what you have had planned. So you gotta have to make something up on the fly. I think it helps with the chart that we had when we built worlds, because you can kind of get an idea of what the theme of your world's going to be like. You have kind of like a storyline to kind of like help guide you along the way in a sense. And you can pull like funny moments, but do it in your own content, like you're worded in your own way to take a moment from like one of these awesome like plots or movies that we have in there and kind of put it into your story as well.
Casey?
So I like to start with a pretty wide foundation. One of the nice things about Crit Sandwich is that we get to cheat, right? Like coming together with character settings and plot all together really fills in a lot. Like it really creates an infrastructure for you to just fill into the details. And that's really awesome. That's, I think, one of the things that makes creating campaigns for this not that hard. But then I like to, obviously like do the research, watch the movie, play the game or whatever, make some notes, think about it, and then build a really strong foundation. Usually that's like a map and a flow chart, and then just start drilling down into characters. And hopefully by the time we start episode 1, it's a bit of a mechanical world that the characters are jumping into. And then the thing is like after we do our first episode, I'm mostly reacting to what the players are doing. Like I'll add more stuff, or I'll take things and I'll rearrange it in the world and put it in front of the characters. But it's just, a strong foundation, and then just reacting all through the season, and playing it an hour at a time, hour and a half at a time, doing it all episodically, makes the world building and DMing a lot easier, because you can just be like, all right, this is what you guys did previously. And I'm looking at my map, I'm looking at my characters. This is what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I would just agree that hour or 2 hours that we play at a time really makes it a lot easier, because then you know what just happened, so you can prepare your next session. Overall, for me, it is kind of like a scenario where it depends on the campaign, first off. Like for me, the Chaos Incarnate one, I kind of knew what was going to be happening and what challenges they'd be up against, and had it pretty well prepared. However, on the other side, on Drowhard, it was like they totally threw me for a curveball. I think like 2 or 3 times where I was just like, well, I thought they'd go this way and they went that way. So I guess I wasn't prepared for it, basically. So I mean, it kind of just like God, what was there, like a dog or something, like a monster dog or something? I forget, that you guys let it go and I had it come back at the later on and help you. That was not part of the plan at all. But
The worm.
there it was. Yeah. You guys played it well, and I was like, they should be rewarded for that. So I think having a good general outline and then just letting the characters drive the story is more my strategy. I think that's a lot of what Casey said too.
Yeah, I definitely try as well to let the characters drive the story too. But I feel I prepare a lot, because as you can tell, on if you guys have questions, some like I have to be able to have the answers. I got to have them ready. So like I plan out what questions I feel you guys are going to ask, and I put myself in your guys' shoes of like, where do I feel that they're going to go, so I just try to prepare for all that. But like after the first session is like already like written, then after that I got to wait to get more information to see where you guys are going to take the story up. But I usually have to plan what conversations you guys have, because there are like some key topic points that I want to make sure get said, and I'll just have my paper note up and I'll like put little tick marks of like, okay, I finally said this and I finally said that, and occasionally I'll have to like reword it to be able to fit it in the conversation. Like when someone's talking about someone, and then they'll be like have to have one of the NPCs like, okay, what's that guy's name again? And then it gets brought up that way.
Yeah, that's the thing I like to have is a list of secrets and clues. And sometimes I don't even know what secret or clue I'm going to throw at you guys when we start the session. But if you guys do a skill check in an area that could lead to a secret or clue being discovered, like if you're just like, oh, I'm going to investigate this, but there's like really nothing in the room for you guys to learn, I'll look at my secrets and clues and try to throw one of those at you. You know, that's something that I have started doing, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, like if we roll well, it's tough to give you nothing, you know?
Yeah,
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Any great roll, I'll look at my secrets and clues and try to figure out how I can place them in front of you.
That's a good
Dude,
idea.
the worst is when I do like that. The worst is on the flip side, though, and it's like, oh, I want to look at this, and you're like, yes, this is perfect. And you have them roll, and you're like, all right, as long as they roll like a 12, I'll give it to them. And then they're like, 3, wah, wah, and you're like, well, this is what I wanted you to look at, and now you screwed it up. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you all come up with the worlds you create for the others? How detailed do you make it?
Do we kind of just answer that?
Yeah, I
in a
feel like we've
sense?
kind of covered this one.
Okay, cool. What's the favorite character that you've made on the podcast, NPC or PC?
This is a tough one. I have my top two. You know what? No, I think my favorite was Jackson King. I just felt like whenever I was playing as Jackson King, I had nothing to lose. My character was based off of confidence. So whenever I just went into something, I wasn't afraid. You know, I was just like, okay, let's do it. You know, and you just go into it. And I just had like no fear whenever we got into like a encounter or anything like that. So I think that was probably and he was chill when he did it. You know, so that's probably my favorite character. My runner-up would be Ilden Bonri. And that was merely just because of the evilness and the deception based around that character and playing with the group, but fucking the group over at the same time. That was fun.
I really liked my Brad Kitty. I liked the way I got to role play him as like a kitty cat that has his master kind of, but I'm also like a cat and I want to do my own thing. I really liked role playing Brad Kitty. That was a lot of fun. So I would say Brad Kitty, and then my runner up would be Reed Hartman, just because I've really liked the name Reed Hartman too. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm Aunt Tarla all the way, all day. And then my character for campaign 9, also, I'm not going to say anything about him, but I like him a lot too.
I like your character you're playing right now too, Casey. He's my favorite character in that campaign.
I'll go ahead and say this is the first time this campaign's been brought up, and I thought it was a great campaign. My favorite of my own characters is Dilly Skidmark.
Yeah, he said it before. He said
it's a great name.
It's just.
I had a blast playing her. She was cool in combat. I thought playing her was like, she was this little piece of shit. There were multiple times where you guys were in combat and I just didn't agree with the combat, so I just like strolled the opposite direction. Just because she was a turd. I had fun with her, and then I wish I got to do more with him, but it kind of just didn't work out that way. But Blingo Bango, was kind of fun too for me as an NPC.
Yeah, you should bring him back as a PC sometime.
Yeah, we'll see. It might happen. We'll see. Next is, what is your favorite beer? I find myself drinking Blue Moon the most. I don't think it's my favorite beer. We have a lot of good local breweries that we could probably name that nobody's really tried, probably, like Mad Tree.
Mad Tree distributes pretty far now, but
does it?
They're like as far as like a real hoppy thing, not even the psychopathy. They had the Galaxy High, and then they had the Citra High. The Citra High is like, as far as IPAs go, is like one of my favorites. It's like 9% or something in response, or maybe even 12%. But it's
I
just
think
like
it's 12.
yeah, it's a beautifully balanced double IPA. Like it is just
Oh.
really, really well done.
I might have to try that.
That's one of my favorite beers. And then I love Old Chub from Oscar Blues. It's a Scotch ale. Also like a 9-10% here. But it's just like it's super
Sure.
smooth, very beautiful. Love that beer. But our go-to cheap beer is High Life. High Life in a shot of whiskey, just all day.
Nice. Great Lakes Christmas Ale is pretty great. If you guys haven't
yeah.
had that,
That is good. Had that. I usually have like a variety of whenever we're playing, I'll switch it up. Whatever I'm drinking, it's just kind of whatever is in the house at the time. Like whenever I go to the grocery store, I'll usually just get something different, or like where you can go to the section where you can make like your own 6-pack, and you can just pick like a variety of like different beers and stuff, and or drinks and stuff, and make it up that way. I would say something. This question, I don't know why it made me think of it, but I was just like, you know what, that sounds really good. I haven't had it in a while. Is a Guinness.
Yeah.
That would probably be one of my favorite types of beers. It's just having that. I just haven't had it in a while.
Also something I could drink all day long.
yeah. Oh, it's so good. Robbie,
I'm into wheat beers. I'm really like Oberon from Bell's, which I believe is made in Michigan. But
delicious.
that's one of my favorite beers, and I've been into some blonde beer lately. I believe one is called. You can correct me if I'm wrong. There's one that's called a cheetah or a cougar.
Oh, from Rheingeist.
Rheingeist?
Yeah. Those are that's what I'm currently into right now. But also the Oberon, which is the wheat beer.
Bell's has a really good lager of the lakes right now that is fantastic.
We're gonna stick with the food side of things. A favorite sandwich, Robbie.
Ooh, actually, we've answered this before on the podcast, where I just happened to say that I like my favorite one is just a normal peanut butter and jelly, just because it's so easy for me to whip up and make real quick. But if we want to get a little bit fancier, I always love a BLT.
Good choice, Chuck.
I just had it the other day. It's kind of this switches, it changes, but I'm going to say a Reuben. Had a Reuben the other day, and it was delicious. With sauerkraut. They gave me the option of doing coleslaw. I don't know. What is this? Like, have you heard this before?
No, what is that nonsense?
Yeah, it's sauerkraut all the way.
Casey.
PB&J is top tier for me, but I'd never ever eat them. It's more of a childhood nostalgia thing. But I definitely give me a Reuben, give me a patty melt, give me a hot beef, like a hot Italian beef. Yeah, now we're talking. Just yep,
Pretty good. I'm gonna say two. I'm gonna say a Penn Station, East Coast style sub with all the meats, grilled. And then golly, if you guys haven't tried this, at Arby's they have it like a smokehouse brisket sandwich, which I would pay $20 for it. I mean, it is absolutely phenomenal.
They
it's
have
awesome.
the meats.
They do. It's a fact.
yeah. I do like just some brisket or some pork shoulder and some sauce and a
Yeah.
bun.
We may need to skip a couple of these next ones just because we already did them, but let's just check. How did we get into D&D? I feel pretty good about. We already answered that.
Yep, that's my fault.
Yep.
Okay. Where did the name Crit Sandwich come from? Now, that one I think we can go ahead and answer. Because we had a different name first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we recorded a lot of episodes under a different name.
But not posted. We did not
No.
post these. This was just our first
No.
idea that we had for a podcast.
We'll say
Holy-
it now. It's enough time. Holy Crit was the original name of the podcast, but someone published it like weeks before we were ready to publish. Like it was kind of crazy. We had an email, we had a Twitter, we had everything set up, and these people just posted it without even checking social media and all these other things. And we had to totally we were like, all right, what are we doing? What was our runner up? And Holy Crit was a shit pun, right? Shit and crit. So we just started listing shit puns. And then shit sandwich was our shit pun that we rolled with. Crit sandwich, obviously, is what that turned into.
We had some fun names. I feel like I have a list of some of our weird names that we had back in the day. But
I feel like
one
the
of them-
crit sandwich though is very fitting though. I like it.
Yeah, and we
Oh,
have
yeah.
the rule for the critical hits, and also just like the sandwiching of all of our different character plot settings together.
I just looked at. I actually had some notes from like all of some names that we came up with, like that when we were trying to figure out a name for our group. Some of them are kind of weird, but I don't know who came up with
Yeah.
Diceria, but
I liked Diceria. Diceria was one of my favorites, and I think that might have been you, Chuck. And I was like,
Diceria, that was me.
I feel like it might have been, and I was like, I would totally do that, but I don't think that's gonna fly.
So I'm in a very heavily regulated industry. Like I haven't made any money, like we discussed earlier, but any penny I make outside of my work, like, has to be accounted for. So anything I do, I have to go to my compliance and fill out a report, and I put in there crit sandwich just in case I ever make money off this thing. But I don't know if I don't know what if I would have gone to them and told them Diceria. I don't. I might have been like, sorry. I don't know. You guys can have my money.
That's a good one. Hard to spell.
Yeah, I bet. Maybe they wouldn't have figured out what it means even. So
yeah,
someone's gonna take that name now, which is perfectly fine.
Diceria. You heard it here first. First.
Actually, we should trademark this crit sandwich.
It's
going
already
to
been
give you
trademarked. Yeah.
Diceria. That'll be our new tagline.
And actually, that's our very last question. Is why did you get rid of the puns? And there's a whole bunch of exclamation marks and question marks.
Try to make 100 sandwich puns, and then just give up.
They might come back. But yeah, it was getting
I like them.
We were struggling for a while there. We would spend like a good 15 minutes before recording, be like, all right, has anybody got anything? And we talk about it for a little bit, and it's like,
I feel once if we ever got a Discord, like we would have listeners come in there and they would actually give us puns. Like we
could hive mind it, but I think the
That's
four
good.
of us are done with the puns for now.
Well, that's it, guys. Does anyone have anything they want to add or finish us up or?
Yeah, actually, there's one question I think that we get the most that we did not get on this series of emails, and it is why no female player.
We've actually, I think we almost brought in a female player as a guest. I think was for Matt's campaign of don't correct me if I'm wrong, but it was for Chaos Incarnate. Cassiel, I believe, was originally going to be a female. Is that correct, Matt? Or
yeah, I was thinking actually of Court.
I think you're going to ask my wife, Courtney, to play that part. But I don't know how it would have changed the character or anything like that. But I think we've tossed around the idea of having a female character.
Yeah, I was just gonna tell her, okay, here's the things you know, and then just play it however you want to. Mostly just because I thought having a guest would be fun, and she knows the flow of Dungeons and Dragons because she listens to podcasts. I know. You're right, Casey. That's a question we get a lot.
Yeah, and I think part of it is because when we were playing D&D, it was the four of us meeting at Chuck's house, playing in his basement. I've known Chuck and Matt for almost 20 years. I've known Robbie for several, and we would go play or record an episode, go have some beers, have lunch, talk about just whatever's going on in our lives, and then we would go play the other episode, and that was our whole Saturday. And I think it was just it's in the intro, four friends playing D&D together. I think we've tried and wanted to. I feel like we've asked a lot of our female friends, but we've never we've never had one play D&D and it stick with us.
I don't think it's anything. I mean, it could come up down the road. We definitely could have like a female character or player in our group as like a guest or something like that. I don't know if we would add somebody on like down the road or anything like that. But I think the thing that's hard right now is like when I'm playing, it's because my wife is being awesome and taking care of our kids. So it gives me the free time to be able to play. And now, like with us recording right now, it's because she is, like tonight, she was awesome and put the kids to sleep tonight so that I could come up here and we could start early on our recording and stuff. So
yeah, I think if we had any female friends that love D&D, they would probably be a part of this with us, but it's just not something that's happened. But we'll keep talking to people.
Yeah, we did have
Certainly
one
not ruling out.
female player with us, and that's when we got together live. And I thought it was really awesome because she played a character that had a pet mouse. And when she showed up to play with us at the game, she actually brought like a little stuffed mouse and set it on the table, which I thought was really awesome. Just like, oh my goodness, that is cool because like you're going to role play that strongly that you brought a toy mouse with you. And I was like, I love that.
And had I not broken that girl's heart, maybe she would be here on this podcast with us. That's my bad, you guys.
I thought she moved.
She did move after we broke up. She
Yeah,
ran very far away. She ran.
she's like, I got to get out of town.
She ran across the country. And then I met my wife like 6 months later. So it all worked out for the best.
All according to plan.
Yeah.
Right?
And she's never listened to the podcast, never played D&D, doesn't get it, and is not interested in it at all. And you know what? That works for us. Actually, here's another question. One more question for you guys. Do your spouses listen to the show? Mine does not.
Mine does.
Is she all caught up?
I think she is. She hasn't listened to any from campaign 8 yet. But typically, like I'll give her. So she's very lucky. She has insider access. I'll give her like raw cuts and let her listen to them before they're posted for the listeners. So I mean,
Spoiled.
yeah, she's very spoiled.
You gotta wait until the episodes come out because we need those listens. We need those downloads, please.
Her favorite campaign is one of yours, Casey. It was the Pokemon campaign.
Oh, fun.
That is actually her favorite campaign.
Cool.
She really enjoyed that one.
Robbie, does your wife listen?
She used to, but I think because she never got into the Pokemon thing, didn't understand it. So once I think the Pokemon one is when she cut off and stopped listening. But she's not caught up, but she was pretty listening to it. Day one when the episodes started coming out, she listened to it up until the Pokemon one.
Matt, what about MB?
Nada. She did like I think the first few episodes, like ever, like way back.
Mhm.
But she was at work, and then we cussed a couple times, and she was like, "Nope," because she had to answer the phones at her job at that point. So she couldn't have any earbuds, so it was just like playing for her whole office, and now she got a new job, and that one she's just so busy she doesn't have time, so not so much.
Yeah, and thank you, Matt's wife, because she said she loved my character so much, and that's why Matt, Chuck, and Casey decided to keep me on the podcast is because she loved my character so much.
What? She
I don't
does.
think that's true.
She all the times says Robbie he's the talent.
Robbie's the
of
glue.
crew, so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say she tells me that once or twice a month. So.
Oh no, you guys are lagging for me.
Yeah, Matt, we lost you.
Hey, looks like you're gonna have to edit this.
Shit. Damn it.
It's that hour marker he keeps talking about.
Matt done messed up. Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, how about I just go ahead and do an outro here?
Yeah.
So thank you. Oh, Matt's coming back. Maybe I won't. Oh no, Matt's just gone. Now Matt's coming
Yeah, I was
back.
gonna say he'll come back here in a second.
Matt,
I did it.
you all right? You here?
I'm great. I'm here. Good old Discord.
Woohoo. Do you, I'm just going to go ahead and do the outro. How's that sound?
Do it, man.
So that was our Q&A session. As you might have picked up on, we have already recorded several episodes of Campaign 9. Robbie is DMing a Jumanji-themed campaign for us, and it is going pretty well. But we are going to be releasing these episodes weekly instead of bi-weekly, so we kind of need the end of that campaign in sight. So it's going to be several weeks before the first episode of Campaign 9. Keep up with us at Facebook and Twitter, and we'll let you know when that date is. And also, we'll probably drop into this feed in the next few weeks and post something else. Thanks for listening.